Ecological Dynamics and the constraints-led approach for grappling. My name is Sam Fields. Thank you very much for joining me on this episode of my journey through this approach. I've been, as you know, dedicated. Some would say obsessed. I would say obsessed with this approach. It has genuinely taken over a ton of my brain power, and I'm loving it. I just wanted to start out today with giving a shout out to one of my students in the workshop. His name is Jaden, and his improvement in the past month and a half, not even, I would say month, has been nothing short of awesome. There's a couple of things here. I don't want to say that it's purely down to the CLA approach stuff. It's Jaden's been training with us since probably March, April, potentially May last year. So he would have only really sort of he came in fresh to the gym, and literally up until probably the end of last year, I mean, he was picking stuff up and he was playing with stuff and learning things, and you could tell he was going well, but the deliberate and hard nature of him rolling now. He's tall. He's quite flexible. He's got a bit of a base level now. But again, I'm not going to put it all down to the EDCLA approach, but I would say that it's a strong part of it, because the confidence that you get from consistently having to roll at a high intensity, not a full-on intensity, but a much higher intensity than just drilling stuff over and over and over and over again, it is actually quite interesting. It's like the results, the proof is in the pudding. So I can, he's more, as I said, deliberate is probably the best word I could use. You feel what he wants to do now. It's not just he's sort of tentative. Yeah, that's 100% that's how I saw it. And Aaron this morning rolled with him and said not necessarily exactly the same thing. I put some words in his mouth, but he definitely said that in the last month he's just caned along. Now, again, I think some of it, if not 90% of it, is that we have been doing this approach. But I can't say it's entirely that, because he had done 6 to 10 months of the traditional approach as well. So it could be that he's stepped over that line from being a complete novice to, let's call it, a beginner. So today's session was really cool. I woke up early this morning because I'd started planning yesterday, but I had family, and my son was being a little bit naughty, so getting him to sleep and all that, it just meant that I was tired. I noticed as well, this is going to be a little bit of a diary sort of side of things as well, but I noticed that I was very tired yesterday, and I'd sort of realised that I hadn't been taking any supplements, so zero. No vitamins whatsoever. And part of that was because I kind of wanted to clear out of the supplements that I had been taking, because I ate crap the night before. I ate Maccas the night before, and B, I was just very sluggish, and I bought the Athletic Greens, which you've probably seen all the podcasters or the big guys promote. And I wanted to clean out all the other stuff so that I could then engage in this Athletic Greens and see what difference it makes. First day, feeling alright, not feeling tired, but it is 10:23, so still a long way to go. Anyway, sorry for the digression. So woke up this morning though at about 3:30, and again my brain just was in overdrive, looking to plan out the session for this morning, and I came up with the idea of the bodylock pass. I really wanted to work on the bodylock pass, but I also wanted to see if there was an opportunity to get some sort of an omoplata potentially, and if there was other methods, other techniques like, say, clamp guard, triangle, that sort of thing. So the initial thing was, and I'm really liking my old drills, for want of a better word, but they're not really drills. They were just positional moving through positions in order to identify them. I've said this before, but what I'm doing now is I'm just literally like picking a position that's semi-related to what we'll be doing today, and then going, right guys, all I want you to do is the person on the bottom is going to get in this position, the person on the top is going to try and stop them from sweeping them. So the person on the bottom is trying to sweep or at least destabilize. The person on the top is trying to stop them, essentially. So today we chose, I chose half guard. No, what did I choose? Butterfly guard. And you've got everything, and then the person has to stop them sweeping. And part of the emergent behaviors was getting inside space. So when they had the underhook, the person getting that arm back inside to control that inside space, and then what I found myself doing was, as soon as I got inside, I was then able to see through this kind of lens here that I could swim in and get the body lock, which is essentially the emergent behavior, but the emergent behavior that I expected of myself. I didn't expect it to be in that form. I'd seen someone earlier on in my research sort of phase teaching how to do it, but it was literally the person sitting there like this, and then the person ducks under. So there was no realization that you had to probably swim under. So what would be happening is if I taught it like that person had taught it, I won't put anyone on blast, but like that person had taught it, then what was probably going to happen was that someone would swim an arm under, someone would do something to block it, to make it easier for them to then get a butterfly sweep or some sort of underhook, which would then allow them to execute a escape technique, sweep, even capture some sort of an arm, that sort of thing. The affordances for this, at that point it was just trying to do that, and then I was able to get that body lock, go from there. There was a couple of things that popped up. So the actual game, the two games that I created, first one was literally a person had the what was it? So the person the person had to get a body lock and then them flatten out. And the person on the bottom either had to sweep them or get their ankle to the opposite hip on the other side, right? Which worked. Which the affordance was essentially that it would have people looking to either take that back area in sort of a clamp guard where you've got the arm, because they're trying to go through to get the body lock, which means that their arm's here. So you're either you're digging under to get the sweep, so get a hook sweep, or you're allowing them to get their arms around your center, and you're using that to get your leg over the back in order to set up any number of attacks, omoplatas, just clamp guard, any number of attacks from there. It was effective. It did show a couple of limitations. Well, not even limitations, but some parameters I probably could have assisted a bit better in designing. So with that foot over the back, I would have liked to have maybe said, connecting your own heels or something like that. But for all intents and purposes, that kind of worked. I found myself, I had my foot over the back, but my bottom knee wasn't released. So I would consider that. I mean, yes, I would probably have found myself in a dominant position, but I didn't find myself in the position that I kind of wanted to be in. So, but I suppose that's all right. I suppose that's what I want. So what I was aiming to achieve, though, is essentially to get into a position where the shoulder locks were available to us, and we had sort of a clamp on the shoulder there. So I kind of have gone through, what are the specific details. The learning that I'll get from this, I would suggest, is I'd like to plan these out even further, it's so difficult not having someone to bounce the ideas off. I mean, I think it would be ideal to maybe sit down with Alex and build a library of these games. So I think that's what I might do in the future. What went well and why? I think we definitely all discovered different ways to ensure that we didn't get swept while we were passing, because the second game was we needed to, they were seated guards, so essentially butterfly guard without, or seated guard, butterfly guard without the hooks in, but the person on top was to try and get them flat on their back with some sort of body lock. And we workshopped, essentially, we found that certain hip ways hip work, dropping your hips on their single hip actually worked better. And instead of trying to go off to one side and body lock directly down the center, which then allowed many more options for the body locker and less options for the body lockee. Hopefully that what are the top 3 things to continue? I think we're on the right track. I think we're on the right track. I'm going to get. I think when I plan a bit more specific, I wrote out a whole heap of things. I should bring that home and review it. I think the main reason why I didn't was because it sounded like a bit of nonsense in my head when I was reading my notes afterwards, but maybe that's a good prompt for when I'm doing these videos. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on this journey. I really appreciate you all. Hopefully see you in the next one. Thank you very much.